Hey guys, Hope here from Pancreatically Challenged. I'm here with my boyfriend today, David. He's going to be giving me a bit of a hand. So today I'm going to be showing you how to put insulin infusion site into my arm, which is why I need David. I'm going to be using the Inset 30, which is an auto-inject infusion site, and I'll also be using the Animas Vibe. So we'll start off with loading up the cartridge, which I'm going to get David to show you what we're going to do there.
Alrighty, everything comes in this handy dandy little package here, which opens from this end, the little V, like that, that's the correct end. I opened it the wrong end the first try, so righty. Once you've torn this open with the speed and strength of 1,000 gazelles, inside you will find, just put that there, you find a syringe, cartridge, correction. You find your plunger, which plugs into the back of there, and there's little nublets which engage there. You will find a needle in case, and a little nublet which goes on the end of it. Now, first thing you do is just pump that back and forwards a few times, just so that the little fella's all nice and lubricated. And then you return it to the forward position, ready to suck up some insulin. Alright, get your needle and your cartridge and you screw that in nice and tight. Just make sure it's secure. Then when you're doing taking the cap off, take it off like that. You don't rip it off and wave the needle around. You put it in a safe place so you can put it.
So I'll be using Nova Rapid. So in New Zealand there's, as far as I know, 2 brands of fast-acting insulin. So this is the recommended one for insulin pumps. Although there is Homolog and some people do use that in their pumps. I just use the pen cartridges. So even though it's designed for a pen, you can still withdraw insulin from it with the syringe. So that's what I'll be using today.
Alrighty. Well, there's a small permeable area in the end of it into which you insert the needle. So what you're trying to do, if I can get that in the camera, is place it just gently against the end there and push in just quietly. No need to rush it. And what you're trying to do is do a normal, slow withdrawal.
So at this point you want the insulin to be at room temperature. That just stops air bubbles. So when the insulin heats up, it causes space and results in air bubbles. Also when David's doing it, he's pumping really slowly. I've just found that helps reduce the air bubbles that you get. If you pull it quickly, they all kind of disperse and go everywhere. Whereas if you do it slowly, you end up with one big air bubble, which is a lot easier to eject.
Alrighty, so you can change the amount which you draw into there. We're not doing the full lot. We're doing just 0.6 there.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can see, you've got a gradation on there, and you want to go to the top of the first ring there. So we're going to 0.6.
So everybody uses a slightly different amount of insulin over the 3 days that they have their site in. I've just found that this is the amount that I use. So I prefer to not fill it all the way up because I feel like I'm wasting insulin when I've got about 40 units left over at the end of the 3 days. So that's why I don't use the whole lot, but some people do, some people use less.
Yeah, when you're flicking the bubbles out there, what you get is tiny little bubbles around the plunger. And so what you want to do is just gently tap around the base, not a huge thundering blow, but just so that you get the little fellas off there. Then, do we have a one
we don't
to
have spare
injection?
ones, we'll just use that one.
Okay.
So normally what I have is I have an empty one of these, and then when I want to get the air out of the cartridge, I just plunge the air into an empty one of these. It just saves me plunging it into mid-air or onto a napkin. It's a lot tidier, but today I don't have that, so I'll just be putting the air straight back into this new cartridge of insulin.
Alright.
So just bang that
Yeah. So when you do this, same procedure as before. Slide that in to the base of it. Now, when you're trying to get rid of your bubbles, what you'll have is when you press slowly, the bubble will escape out of the needle, and it continues on up until there is a tiny little bubble which you won't be able to get rid of, just in the top. You can give it a little bit of a flick, and that sometimes dislodges it. But what you're actually doing is, there's the base of the needle, there's the start of the cartridge. The bubble is just in there. So you're going to take the needle off anyway, so no worry. So what we've got at the moment is we've lost a little bit of insulin. So
just draw it up.
Draw a bit more. Okay. Yeah. So when you're doing another draw, this is nice and slow, and also you're doing quite a small amount, so you shouldn't get any bubbles. But same drill, give it a tap, give it a little flick, and if there's a tiny little bubble just in the top of the needle, then you don't need to stress about that, because obviously you're taking the needle off. Anyway, place a little cap on top very carefully and give it a squeeze so that it's seated. Then twist while holding the little cap down. If you try and pull off like that, you'll just rip the cap off. Hold the cartridge upwards, and you'll find a little nubblik with a small indent in there in the kit, and that just slips nicely over the top there. Push it down, and it means that you're not spraying insulin everywhere. Squeeze the two grips on the side of the plunger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Plunger. Side of the plunger to disengage the hooks, and you can put that down and, I don't know, play with it later if you want to.
Cool. So I just put that to the side, and then put my sight in. So this is the part where I need David's help. So what I've got is an alcohol prep pad. I had a shower this morning, so my arms are pretty clean, but it's really good to just disinfect the area because you are puncturing the skin. So I just grab ones from Diabetes New Zealand. I know that MediRay also supplies alcohol prep pads. I'm not sure which one's cheaper for that. So just tear this open, and then wherever we're going to put it on my arm, so put it maybe there.
Alrighty.
Yep. So just decide on a place. So we will go in a circular motion, going out from the site. Just means that any germs that are on me, I'm spreading out rather than just spreading around the same area. Now with that same alcohol prep pad, I'm going to remove my last site. Now normally I would keep the site in for an hour after I have put in a new one, just to make sure that the new one is working, and if it isn't, then I can swap back to that old site because I know that it's working at the moment. So my old site's just in my tummy, just here. So what you just need to do with that is pick up the corner there and then pull it off like a band-aid, and I don't know if you can see that. That is what was in there. So it comes off pretty pain-free. I tend to pull it pretty quickly, but there's just a little red mark there, and then what I like to do is just go over it with the alcohol prep pad using the other side so that there's nothing bad on it, or if I'm doing it an hour later, I'll just use a new prep pad. So that just, I find, helps reduce the need to itch. They do get quite itchy, and also just if there's any beginnings of an infection or anything, stops that. If it's bleeding or anything, I might put a little band-aid on it, but today it looks alright, it's just a bit red.
Pretty sus.
So that's that, and now we're on to putting our sight in. So again, this is the Inset 30, which is a flat lying sight. The little cannula here is a Teflon cannula and goes in at about 45 degrees to your body. So you do this. So it's coated. Oh, zero door slamming. Coated in plastic, which you just remove.
Yeah. So you got a little red tab on there. Pretty simple. Pull it straight off. Remove. Probably should hold it in front of you. Yeah. Then you've got your paper Watson. Pull that off, making sure to keep your hands clear of the little trigger there. Then you have a small plastic sheath on there, which you're going to need to take off, and usually it comes off quite nicely. You want to get it in both hands like that and kind of squeeze, pull it off. Takes a little bit of practice.
So this is what it looks like not loaded. So that's it from the front, and then that's it from the back. So to load it, you'll see in here we've got this little grippy circle. So you just put your finger through that, hold it here, and then pull it back. And as we pull it back, you'll see that that little piece of plastic pulls up, and we want to just pull that off, and that's it, all loaded. So the thing with this is that when you are holding it when it's loaded, you want to hold the ridged ends, not the circular ones, because the circular ones will shoot the needle in, and you don't want to do that too early. So now this is where I need a hand. What I like to do with my arms, just to make sure that I get it in properly and it's comfortable, is I'll get David to squeeze my arm like that, where we're going to put it. I'm going to do it from underneath. Yep. And then with the applicator, I'll hold it down and make sure that the skin's kind of pushing up in the middle, and then when I'm happy with it, I'll just push. That's it in, and I just give it an extra little push just in case it didn't go all the way in. Now I'll get David to remove his hand, and then we've got this little tab here, so the paper needs to come off that so we can stick it down. So this is where I need an extra pair of hands, because mine won't reach around that far. And then he'll stick down that adhesive for me, and then put a finger on either side of the needle that's in there. Yeah. And then what I'll do is I'll just hold the applicator and pull up. Now with that, that has removed our needle and left the sight in. So what we have now is we have our sight in, but we have this top piece that isn't tied down. So again, there's just a little piece of paper which I'll get David to take off and stick down the rest of the sight.
Yeah, it is a little bit fiddly, so if you just carefully do that, then start from the bottom and seal upwards, just so you don't get any wrinkles.
And if you do get wrinkles, it's no big deal, it's just tidier if you don't. And that is it in. So next we have to do our pump bit. So we've got our cartridge, we've got our sight in, now we need to get the insulin into the pump and fix out a new lead. So with this, I will try and do it so that I can show you. I don't guarantee that I will be able to, but we want to go down to menu, and then down to prime rewind, and up to rewind. That's probably showing it to you guys backwards. And then we want to go rewind. So what happens when we press go rewind is there's a little kind of plunger in here, and that rewinds all the way back to make room for all of the insulin that we've drawn up. So we'll press go for that. It just buzzes a couple of times and then rewinds. So while it's doing that, we will take out the old cartridge. So you just need to unscrew the cap there, which is what David's doing, and then pull it out.
Yeah, the little seal in there can resist a little bit, so you just want to pull with quite a firm motion, but don't rip it out like starting a lawnmower. Yeah, that's rewinding there.
Here, so we've got this little cap thing here. Do not throw that out because that's your cartridge cap, and that gets reused every time. So we just need to disconnect the old lead from the cartridge. So by doing that, just hold the cartridge, hold the top of the lead, and twist, and they come apart quite easily. Then slide your cap off and put that in a safe place. Then I just tend to put these back together, and that whole thing can go in the bin. So in the bin it goes. So next, our rewind has been completed. So what's next is that we need to load our cartridge. So with that, we've got our cartridge here, and then we also have a lead. So I've gone with pink today. So I need to open this, and in here you'll find a lead and a little clip. Now the top of the lead also has another little clip, so you want to unpull those, take them apart. These clips are for if you're going swimming or something and you take off your pump. If you don't suspend it, then you can just pop this in, and all of the insulin that comes out is gathered in here instead of all over your clothes and in your bag. And then this one here, if you're going to the beach or anywhere muddy, this one can just get clipped into your sight to just keep the mud out from the little clips in your sight, which is quite handy. But those also just clip together like that, and you can keep them in your blood kit if you need to. So we've got our lead, and we'll pull that all apart, and like this. And then what we want to do is we want to thread our cartridge cap onto the lead. So just like that. And then we want to remove the little lid that we've got on our cartridge, because otherwise no insulin will come out, and put our lead on there quite firmly when we do that, and there. And then we will put it in our cartridge. So it just goes in this little hole here that the old cartridge came out of. So just push it in until you feel some resistance, and then make sure that you do your cap on tight. And with the load cartridge showing, just go continue, and what that does is that little plunger that I was talking about before, that pushes it up until it finds the end of the cartridge, so that we start in the right place. So that'll just take a second. Cool. So now that's done. So now we want to prime it. So what priming means is that all of this lead, that's all empty. So that contains no insulin. So if I just plugged in now and went around, I would have a huge amount of insulin that is not insulin, it's just air, and that doesn't work as effectively as insulin at all. So we want to prime it to make sure that this is all filled with insulin. So we just go in here and go continue, and then when it comes up go prime, we want to hold that down until we find our insulin out the bottom. Now I just use the alcohol swab and put the insulin onto that. I find it works just as well. I like to hold my pump down so that the insulin's having to push uphill, just to make sure that everything's working and it can do it. Now I'll hold down the go prime button until I see about 3 drops of insulin come out the head of this. So if you want to hold that up close so they can see. So here we go.
Oh.
Here we go. Cool. So that primed 13 units. Sometimes it takes more, sometimes less. It just depends. So next we're back on this screen and we're on fill cannula. So you'll see the cannula that I showed you, this Teflon piece. That holds 0.7 of a unit. So I need to fill that up before I can start bolusing with my pump. So I just get David to click that in. These
pink ones, I believe, are omnidirectional, so you can plug it in however you want. The white ones have a little, you'll see a nublick on the top, and then a flat bit. Flat bit goes flat skin. That's not very descriptive, but when you see it, you'll know. So when you plug in this in, just hold the bottom, slide it in nicely, click.
Done. Cool. And the sites that David was talking about are the Comfort Short. So those are the exact same sites except without the applicator, and they only come in clear. So with this, I just want to go up until I've got 0.7 of a unit. Go. And that is all in, and we're done. So that's my pump site sorted for the next 3 days. If you guys have any questions or comments, just click below. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram. Twitter is just Hopi Dunks. Instagram is Hopi_Dunks. And I've also got a new Facebook page on Facebook, which is My Pink Pancreas. So head along and check any of those out. Leave some comments behind if you like. Thank you very much for watching the video, and please do let us know what you think. Have a good day. Bye.